One mini world, one creation dream.
Let's start with the class. So objectives for this class, objectives that we can use for this class, okay? So the first one is going to be that we are going to learn how to implement the survival rules for minigames, okay? That's going to be the first thing. The second thing here, okay, my hand is a little bit saturated right now. Okay, I have to fix this later. Then we are going to do the game controller system, how it works. It means like the main range for our system. And finally, we are going to import the custom music system. Very important for this. And for this, we also are going to create some extra features for your minigames, okay? But don't worry, I'm going to explain it later. So even knowing that I'm studying that, okay? So guys, how it works for the survival rules, okay? Remember last class, we implement in our game some libraries, okay? Let me switch here to my map and let's open the map. So the last class we implement our library and I also teach you or told you to start creating your minimaps, okay? Actually not minimaps, we are going to call like the different scenarios like an arenas, okay? So I told you to construct and build the arenas for your minigames and to think about your minigames, the minigames that you are going to make. So last class we implement actually just one script that was the MiniGame core, okay? That was like the map or like the script that is going to handle a lot of things, okay? So according to our game plan, we already implement this as we are going to start with all of this that is going to be the base, is going to be like the framework for our map. We are going to implement the other three features today and we are going to start to creating the game controller system. So at the end of the class, we are going to have all the bases for our game plan and later we are going to add the minigames, okay? So we left a couple of things to implement on this. Remember, this is the one that we implement before. This is MiniGame core, and this is the game rules. Okay, so in the previous one, the one that we implement the last class, we are going to have all the features to switch between arena, teleport players, spawn players, and spawn coins. Okay, that's actually what the game does. You can register a new arena and the players are going to be auto-teleported to that arena, okay? We left a couple of things. The first thing that we need to learn is how to implement the ready buff, because right now the players will be able to be teleported, but this has a lot of problems. If we don't do the ready buff, that is going to be the buff that stops the players, doesn't allow to move the players, and avoid the players to move around, we are not going to be or have the best experience, because probably some players are going to be able to keep moving and fall if you have a lot of holes in the arena, or directly fall if you have like a lot of empty space down below, okay? Another cool thing that this does is actually to implement some rules. So as an example, even if your map doesn't need the players or doesn't allow the players to jump, you can set up very easily that. And then we are going to implement the rules, okay? So what will be the difference? This is like a lot of functions that you can use, like extra actions for your triggers. And this one is going to be the actual system that manages the observers. So what is going to do this? First is going to create the observer system. Second is going to create the winner system, is going to provide the rewards for the players when they lose or when they won, and is going to manage the stars. So that means that if a player dies, it's going to reduce the amount of stars. If a player picks a star, it's going to add another star, okay? So what we have to do before starting the class, before starting implementing those new scripts, first we are going to learn or create the ready buff and the observer buff. And with that, we will be able to continue. So let's move to the real world here, okay? So in your map, we are going to create first the one that is going to be the ready buff, okay? How it works, the ready buff, of what it does. Once more, it has a lot of effects here. It's just to stop the players and avoid the players to move or to do anything until the game starts. So give me a second here. Let me get the buff that we need to create. Okay, just 1 second here. I think it's neutral, yes. Okay. So we are going to use for this one we are going to use the skirt buff, okay? Just 1 second here. Just all right. So you are going to move here to your your plugin section, okay? And when you are in the plugin section, what you are going to do is to move to status, okay, guys? So when you are in status, we are going to add a new one, okay? But very important, guys, this one is not going to be a completely new. That means that you are not going to hit on create. Once more, I did this when you are not supposed to do something. So you are not going to do this. You are not going to do this. Instead, what you have to do is just to select that. And once more, I feel very funny when I do those like gestures, but it's just for you to pay more attention and be able to realize which actually you have to do. So this is going to be okay. This is going to be not the way that we want it. So we are going to choose the edit. And very important, you can change this on the script. But if you want to avoid extra steps, if you want to avoid extra like things that you have to do, just do the same thing that I'm going to do. So go here and go to neutral effect, and you are going to select the first one, the one that is dicey number 1. That's the one that we are going to choose. What we are going to do is not to create a new buff, we are going to edit the one already existed one, okay? And yeah, just hit confirm. Once you have that, once you choose that, it's going to be have like the interface to edit that buff. In my case, I put this name, it's going to be ready. The description, I just keep it like this because I want to teach you which one is it. So that's why I put dicey one here. But remember, you are going to edit that one, okay? In the status, you can choose whatever you want. As an example, you have expressions here. You have a lot of things here, okay? As an example, I can use like this one. And now you are going to be able to choose a special effect and a sound, okay? That's the sound I choose. Let's hear it once more. And also the effect, as this is going to be just like a quick buff. So if you want to use the same setup I have here for the effects that you can change, this part you can change it, of course, but the other parts are very important to be the same. The one that I use is Mark 45 and the sound is Order 17. You can choose whatever effect and whatever sound you want and whatever icon, okay? The name also can change, but remember to put something like ready or holding or wait. Now, for the effects, okay? You have to delete all the effects that you are going to have here. And we are going to do a lot of new ones, okay? So, the first one that we are going to do is a character is unable to run, okay? You can find that into the different, you just need to search for that icon when you add an item. And what it's going to do is to avoid the player to be able to work, okay? So let me do this, let me delete this one so I will be able to teach you. So once you delete everything else here, you are going to just hit on that. And right here you can see the different effects that you are going to have. The one I mentioned before is right here. So just guide by the icons, okay? So let me open it. So I'm not going to modify that to avoid to have some errors in the future. But the effects are going to be the first one the character is unable to run. The second one is make player invincible. That means that the player is not going to receive damage or die. That's very important because probably when we respawn the player is going to be under the lava or something, so the player have some seconds to decide what he has to do. Second one, as the player is not able to run, the player cannot use run, and we are going to do the basic speed. So remember, change moving speed here, and we are going to change only the basic speed. So you are going to have something like this. Remember to put this slider to the minimum chance that is going to be -100. With that, the player is not going to have a speed. And then you can add a new one that is going to be player or freezy, that the player can move. And finally, we are going to create a bubbles around the player. Why the bubbles and why this? Because with the system that I'm going to help you out to create, you can spawn the player over the map. As an example, if you're creating like a mapping which actually is a labyrinth or something similar, so the player is going to be like stuck in there for some seconds, and after that is going to fall. So you are going to give enough time to the player for checking the surroundings and know where it's going to fall, okay? That's very important. And yeah, in attributes, be sure that you are switching to positive status, and be sure that all of this is completely off. That's very important. And that's it. We already have the first status here. Now we are going to create the observer one, okay? So how do you create the observer one? Very important, guys. Here, let me check. Very important, the ID for that one, because I completely forgot that one. But if I'm not wrong, it's going to be something around here. Most of the times I place to the first or the seconds, but I think it's going to be virus. Yes. Okay, no, this is going to be bubble. Okay? So, what you are going to do is just the same that we did before. We are going to edit a status. So, guys, just go here. Okay? In add, you are going to hit new and you are going to hit edit. Then you are going to be in neutral effects and you are going to change the one that says bubble level 1, okay? Very important, most of the times it's going to be the one at the end of the first row and the last column, that is going to be this one. And you are going to change the name by bubble, okay? But remember, it's the bubble level 1, not the level 2, okay? So once you edit that, and once more you need to hit edit, you don't have to hit here, you have to hit here. You are going to have the UE to edit on the bubble, and you need to use this next information, okay? So of course, it doesn't matter if you put right here like the bubble. For me is the same. You can use whatever you do. This is like the different interface that I use. You can choose your own. As an example, you can put an eye here, so the player will know that he is observing or something similar. And this is not the important part. The important part is right here. So first, you need to make the player surrounded by bubbles, just like the previous one. And remember, first, before adding any effect, delete everything that is here. But I think the bubbles is already there, so don't delete that part. And very important, we are going to add a new one that is going to be on a special effect, and is going to be change mode. Change mode allows us to change the model for the player, okay, for whatever you want. As an example, you can use a chicken if you are creating a medieval game. You can use, I don't know, like an alien if you are creating a futuristic game, or as an example, if you are creating a pixel game, you can create just a block, okay? But very important, and here is going to ask us to select which creature we are going to switch the model. And we have another two options. We have back view when converting and can use items when converting. So be sure that those two are off, because this is very upset. This is a bug from anywhere. If you activate this one, the player is not going to be the only one that changes the camera, also the other players. So I didn't recommend to use this, okay? Now, for this, you are going to keep it like it is. You are going to switch here to positive status and don't remove after that. That's very important, guys, okay? So once more, I already create my creature here that is going to be observer. Just add any creature. In my case, I put an empty model, so the player is not going to see anything. But if you select a chicken, it's going to have a chicken on there. And that's it. We already have our two different status already created. Now we can move to create their rooms, okay? So how do you are going to create the different rooms, okay? So what you are going to do is to import a new script, okay? So once more, as always, remember that we have a site, we have a way to import those scripts. So just go here. And remember that this page, the page where I stole is like pickpocket. No, I mean store all my different scripts, okay? It's going to be this website. Don't worry, guys. I'm also going to put the link into the chat, so check the chat around that area. I don't know where it is right now, but just check that area, okay? And you are going to have those scripts. Once more, this is the website that I always use. In the description on any video, also you are going to find this website, okay? And in here, as always, I put a folder where you can have all the different things that we are going to use. So first, we are going to import the MiniGame rules. Once more, and for those that are new, if you are in a computer, just hit on here. Don't do it like this because probably you are going to have some mistakes. Just hit where it says copy route content. That is going to copy without any modification. Now you are going to access here. You are going to go to your script section, and in the script section, you are going to hit in a new script. Once we are here, we are going to delete everything with this icon, the icon that looks like a trash can, and then we are just going to paste the information that we got. Some cool thing about this is that you don't have to modify anything if you don't want it. Right here, just by copying and paste it, is already working. But as always, I left you here a setup section. The only thing that you need to set up for this one is the text that you can have in game. So this one is going to be the text when the players start the game, it's like the instructions for the player. This one is going to be the text when a player gets eliminated from the game. This one is going to be the text for the stars. So as an example, if you are not using the stars and you want to use coins, here you can put any text that is going to look like the stars, or you can do something like coins instead of stars, okay? So, but remember, if you change this, very important, any text that you put needs to be in between those two notation marks. And finally, the text when the player become an observer, when the player is already eliminated and it's not playing anymore. And that will be it. As you see, you don't need to change anything, but if you do, just be sure that everything is inside the notation marks. And just hit save right now. And don't forget this, remember to change the name for your script so you are not going to forget what it's going to do this script. So in my case, I'm going to put MiniGame Rules, okay? And this is going to be the first part. For having that, of course, we left another part, and it's going to be InGame Rules. So just hit after that here, go to Basics, and on here we have like the different options right here, and we are going to start to doing the same setup as always. So remember, guys, the first one is the time. I use the nighttime for this one because it's in the space, and I really love like futuristic space games. So probably you know that most of the times I use this one. If you use this one, remember to put a lot of light source in your area. And also remember, in the last class, we check how to do or create a custom light system. So you can add light some specific parts of your map and create like a very well illuminated area. But if you don't, remember you can change the scenario with this, okay? So very important, this is going to change the skybox. So as an example, if you are creating I don't know, like post-apocalyptic game, you can use a time around, I think 18 is going to work fine because it's going to have a red sky, like a yellow sky, like something that looks contaminated. If you're using like a medieval game, you can use the time around, let's put 9 AM or 8 AM. As you see, it's going to give you a clear blue sky, and that's going to give you like the ambient for your game, okay? So very important with that, guys, very careful with it. I'm just going to keep it in 20 because that's going to be how it works better for my map, okay? Now, yeah, another script. So now here you are going to see another couple of things. First, well, we have the time, the right amount of time. On here, be sure that you are going to put fixed timer, okay? With that, your skybox is not going to change. If your skybox doesn't change, that means that you always are going to have the same scenario, okay? Well, very important, you have a lot of options here, but I highly recommend it to keep it in sunny, because sometimes when in-game rains, it's going to give you a little bit of lag, okay? So be sure that you put it on sunny. For generate monster, it needs to be completely off. For gravity, it needs to be in whatever amount you want. This is not really important for this game because we are going to change like this, the jump power during the game, so that is not going to be very important, but I highly advise you to keep falling damage switch on, so the players will be able to receive damage when they fall, okay? For machinery, a car can be destroyed, we don't need it, so just turn it off. Let's switch for map rules now. And very important, guys, remember to put instructions for your map, okay? That's something that I always qualified in the minicamps, because when you put some introductions, some instructions at the introductions, a lot of players can know better how it works, okay? So how it works, remember, you need to activate this switcher. It needs to be on green. And on here you have the different areas to put the description for your maps. Just hit add in the introduction, and if you activate everything, you will be able to take a screenshot for the part that you want to show and introduction, okay? Rules, basic rules for this that I always teach you. Don't use a lot of text, try to reduce your text. Probably write a lot because the first text that you write is going to be long. Try to reduce it and try to be very specific. Let me show you the example. In my map, I only put 3 or 4 rules. The first one is like the image of the start. The second one is like the information, okay? So let me show you in game how it works. Just a second, guys. Sorry, my voice is feeling a little bit like tired for some reason, but let me show you starting the game how it works, okay? Once more, we need to start the game, and 3, 2, 1, 5. So as you see here, the screen, you can see the interface, and that's very important. The instructions are going to be very short. Pickup starts, survive to the minigames, and the second section is going to be every 20 seconds the minigame change, and every 5 rounds the player with less stars will be eliminated. As you see, I don't use a lot of text, that's going to be very important. Probably more text is going to be more like informative, but believe me, players don't read. Just check yourself, in most of the games you avoid to be reading, and that's how most of the players are going to work, okay? Another must for you guys and for all that are developers, and this is very important, guys. If you are a developer, activate the option to translate the language, because at least the rules are going to be very important for the players to know what they are doing, so I always translate all the different rules, okay? And this is also something that is going to give you points when you are in the minicamp, okay? Because this is going to make the player very clear understand what they have to do. Now, for the options, just hit on here, host opens, join gaming process needs to be on. Don't worry, I already implement a system that if a player just exit from the game and re-enter, the player is going to if the player already lose, is going to be moved as an observer. So with this, you are going to avoid the players to be cheating, but they will be able to still join into the map. Counting, put any number, I put 10 just to give enough time for the players to load the map. Options, no music, because, and this is very important, we are going to have a custom music system, so the normal music system needs to be completely off. Minimum amount of players is just set up to 2. For the game target, just put a limited time off, because we are not going to have time. All the different scoring settings that gives extra points to the players depending on how much or some basic things. As an example, when they kill a player or something needs to be completely off, so just move these sliders, all the sliders to 0. Goal needs to be off, turn base needs to be off, bulleted area off, and at the reset mode it will be reset the map, and save players data needs to be off. As you see, it's very easy. Almost everything is completely off. Now, for the team settings, you are going to activate 2 different teams. The team red is going to be the players. The team blue is going to be the observers. I put up to 8 players to the miners and up to 15 players to the observer. And the setup for each one is going to be different. So I always put a name for the team, so it's going to be space miners, that are going to be the miners on my team. Remember to switch this to 8. The permissions, the initial attribute, and everything else is completely off, okay guys? For the observers, I just put the name observers, but the permissions are going to change. The custom setup is going to be on, and the observers are going to have everything off except the part about movable. So the observers actually cannot do anything. They are going to be able to move only, okay? And for everything else are going to be off, okay? I actually put this custom configuration, but it doesn't affect the game, so don't worry for that. Now, for player settings, just be sure that these 3 are going to be completely off, and also the double jump is going to be off. Everything else, you can keep it like it is, but very important, and for me this is the most important, guys. Don't ever do this, okay? Well, just let me get a little bit closer to the cam, and I'm going to be very serious with this. I'm going to take my glasses and everything. Don't do this, guys. Never allow players to summon, allow it, and also to skill, allow it. Why, guys? Because if you do this, your players are going to have a lot of ways to cheat. As an example, if your summon is allowed, the players will be able to call any summon, and as an example, they can avoid to be killed by just summoning a Kirim or something like that. And with the skills also happens the same. There's a lot of skins that are like very broken to the game. As an example, one of the Transformers skins can fly for a little bit, and that will actually make the players have a lot of advantage over the other players. So don't do this, guys, okay? This is very important. I have seen a lot of very good maps that are very well designed, but they fall in this part, and it's very boring because you try to kill a player and the player summon a mount and they get over the mount and they become immortal. So don't do that. Be sure that you turn off that 2 options. The one that says summon skill allow it needs to be off, and the skill allow it also needs to be off. And the final part that is going to change is this one, okay? Assault mode is going to be on free attack, as all the players are going to be in the same team, okay? That is going to be the setup. Remember to change that. And now for the rules, just set the revival interval for 4 seconds. Change to respawn automatically. Removal protection is going to be 5 seconds. Spawn instruction is going to be a random team point. And the death penalty is going to be keep items, okay? That's going to be very important, guys. The most important one is going to be the keep items. Now, for the number of lives, just turn it off completely. Display settings is going to be different teams visible to all, don't show damage, and very important, turn off the health bar, just keep the crosshair here. Also very important, turn off the scoring time, because we are going to have a timer for that. We are going to have something that shows all the information, so you don't have to set up this. Version settings, just set up as default camera, and camera locking needs to be on. And that's it. As you see here, the only thing that changed apart from that is nothing else, okay? So right here, we are ready. We have the rules ready for our map.